Some places were never meant to be found again. Some signals should never be answered. On the coast of Iceland, an old lighthouse flickers to life every 20 years, and every time someone disappears. The radio static was the first sign. It started as faint interference, disrupting weather reports and ship communications for miles. But as the hours passed, the static grew stronger, laced with strange, distant voices. A research team was sent to investigate the phenomenon. The lighthouse had been abandoned for decades, its last keeper vanishing without a trace. But now the light was back on, and it was calling them in. Dr. Elias Thorne led the team, 4 scientists armed with equipment to track the source of the transmissions. As their boat approached the rocky shore, the lighthouse loomed against the fog, its light sweeping across the waves. But something was wrong. The lighthouse wasn't on any power grid. There was no reason for it to be working. Yet the beam turned rhythmically as if waiting for them. The door creaked open at the slightest touch. Inside, dust should have covered everything. But the rooms were pristine, preserved, as if someone had been living there only moments ago. A half-eaten meal sat on a wooden table, untouched by decay. The air smelled of salt and something else. Something metallic, like burnt wires. Then the radios began to whisper. At first it was just numbers, repeating sequences echoing through their headsets. Then came the voices, fragmented distress calls, spoken in languages no one recognized. "Do you hear that?" Elias whispered. His colleague Anna adjusted the frequency, her hands trembling. "It's not coming from a station," she muttered. "It's inside the lighthouse." A sudden burst of static filled the room. The voice that followed was unmistakable. It was Elias's own voice. "Help me," the transmission crackled. "I don't know where I am. Please don't let it take me." Elias felt ice crawl up his spine. "That's impossible." But then they heard more voices. One by one, each member of the team heard themselves on the radio, begging for help from somewhere that wasn't here. Shadows flickered against the rotating light. They moved when no one else did. Anna backed toward the exit, but the door, the same one that had been open moments ago, was bolted shut. The windows, once foggy, now revealed only endless black. The lighthouse wasn't letting them leave. "What if we're already in the transmission?" whispered Lars, the youngest of the team. The radios crackled violently, the room trembled, then the light went out. For a long moment, there was only darkness. And in that darkness, Elias felt something move, something reaching. When the beam returned, Lars was gone. They searched for hours, calling his name, but there was nothing left of him. No footprints, no sign he had ever been there. Then the static returned. Through the radio, faint and distant, they heard Lars's voice. "Please, don't let it take me." The same words they had heard before, the same ones Elias had spoken. By morning, the transmission stopped. The lighthouse was dark again, as if nothing had ever happened. The research team left, shaken and silent. No one speaks of what they found there. The lighthouse will remain abandoned for another 20 years, until it calls again. If you enjoyed this eerie tale, subscribe for more stories of the unknown. Leave a comment. What do you think happened to Lars? And if you ever find yourself hearing a voice that sounds like your own, don't answer.